to PWL Doomsday.
This is Robbie Eagles.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
Hi, this is Mimic. This is 5-time the world's heavyweight champion, the Scrap Daddy himself, Scrap Iron Adam Pearce.
This is Brian Alvarez, and you are listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Welcome to the show, folks. My name is Josh Armour, and thanks very much for downloading Wrestle Radio Australia. This is our first episode.
Oh, yeah! G'day, this is Big Brody Marshall.
This is Brian Alvarez.
This is Dean Brady of the Millennials.
This is Jurassic Punk Sid Parker.
How many of you guys have heard the term kayfabe?
Hello, doggers. This is Jay Hunter from OSW Review.
This is Matt Grim Basso.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
This is Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, and you are locked in
to Wrestle Radio Australia.
I in the game, I'm champion, I'm Triple H, Undertaker, I'm your maker, buried the brother like Kane. Ooh, 1-3, hit the tombstone, hit the choke slam on face. Ooh, yeah, like a macho heel, tell like I'm to muscle. If you suffer like tomatoes, I'ma keep a couple models. Ooh, and you may call me HBK. When I'm tuning up the vein, you best be getting in my way. Ooh, yeah, I'm degenerate, I love it, yes, I love it. If you ain't down with that, then I got two words for you, suck it. Too sweet, put your fangs up. Too sweet, hold another drug. Let's be busy, 23, got me feeling way too sweet.
I was trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit, and it was just awful.
I've turned chicken salad into chicken shit. I will continue to do so.
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad out of chicken shit. People is as people does, that's all there is to it. But a square peg in a round hole just never seems to fit. And you
This is Bianca Belair.
Hey, this is Kevin Owens.
Hey, it's Seth freaking Rollins.
It is the man, Becky Lynch.
It's Rhea Ripley here, and you're listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Hello and welcome to Making Chicken Salad, the Wrestle Radio Australia show where we talk about everything going on around the world of wrestling. I am your host, Lachlan Albert, and let me tell you, the four-man booth is hard to manage. I dealt with it on a show and now I'm dealing with it on a podcast. I am joined, as usual, by the podfather, Todd Eastman. Todd, how you doing, bud?
I'm not too bad, mate. How are you?
Yeah, doing great. We're also joined by the brain behind WrestleBrania, Jeff Setti. Jeff, good to see you, mate.
Good to see you as well, of course, Lachlan, Jamie, Todd. Hope you fellas are well. It's look, there's something that's really exciting about the four-man booth and the way we talk over each other for 2 fucking hours.
Oh, it's superb. And speaking of that fourth man, it's the man behind Pario Media and Australian Wrestling Cards. It's Jamie Apps. Jamie, always good to have you, mate.
Always fun to be here, and especially the full crew back together, I think the first time in a while.
First time in a while is right. And, you know, when we've got 4 of us here, we just need some more people in the chat. Every Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, you can come along to twitch.tv/Wrestle Radio Australia and get involved in the conversation, like Fyrax is doing, along with the baby, I'm sure. Good to see you, Fyrax. Like Wild Angel is doing. Good to see all the people. We've been called the Rawsome Foursome and the Real Four Horsemen so far. So if you've got another name for the full crew, get it in that chat at twitch.tv/Wrestle Radio Australia.
Why do you invite that?
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. You're asking for trouble.
Well, Trent O'Day is here, and he said kids are in bed, Misso is out. Let's lock in for some chat about wrestling. And it's not just any wrestling. It's a wrestling show Trent O'Day won a championship on. Spoiler alert. That's right. We are talking about Pro Wrestling League Doomsday. It's a show that happened a few weeks ago up here in Brisbane. Of course, Todd and I both involved in these Pro Wrestling League shows, at least a little bit. My stink is all over this one, unfortunately. And there is a lot going on, a big storyline involving Jesse Daniels taking over the company after that banger of a match that Mitch Ryder had with Robbie Eagles a couple of shows ago. If you want to check this one out, gentlemen, what do we always say?
We don't, you do.
Make sure Make sure you
It's
watch
not a we thing.
Free on YouTube. That's right. This show is free on YouTube. Head on over to YouTube, search for Pro Wrestling League. You'll be able to find the channel where all of their shows go live after a little bit of editing. You know, we've spoken before about like the nature of having the live show versus the edited show go up. And this is one of those shows where I think the editing has really kicked it up a notch. You do have to wait that extra couple of weeks, but it is nice to be able to keep up with the stuff that's going on by tuning in on YouTube for free a couple of weeks after there's a show, no matter where you are in the country or the world. Because, you know, Todd and I don't shut up about it. We think the wrestling up here in Queensland's actually pretty great and worth checking out. So if you want to check it out, you can do it for free on YouTube. Let's kick it off and start talking about what was on this show, because to start it off, after a little bit of a promo where my broadcast colleague got returned to the desk, there was a 6-man tag match. This one had Wakeall's Most Wanted in the form of Cockroach and Jack Tar, accompanied by Lil Mars, defeating the team of Strong 94, JJ Avery, Renegade, and Christina Cade. And this one had a little bit of an interesting story going through it, because Wakeall's are hunting down those tag titles held by Strong 94. So this victory will likely put them into title contention, even though there was that X factor of Little Mars and Christina Cade in this one. Let's start with you, Jamie. What did you reckon of this as 6-person tag match as an opener?
I really like this as an opener. It was a lot of fun. Right from the start, like the way they incorporated Mars and Christina into this, like I expected Christina to be well included because she's like a regular member of Strong 94, but Lil Mars fit in really well with Wakeall's, and I think it was a great way to like give her a little bit more edge and like elevate her character and evolve her character as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff?
Yeah, I completely agree. A couple of small, I don't want to say botches, but missteps by a couple of the participants, but it can be explained by the fact that there are 6 people out there. That is a lot harder to manage than 1 or even 4. So I kind of get some of the missteps, but as a story, as a match, as a bit of fun, it offered all 3, and I really liked it.
Yeah, there's also an element with these particular teams where, you know, Renegade and Cockroach and even Jack Tar have been, you know, wrestling for a while. Avery is still in his first couple of years of doing it. You know, Christina and Lil Mars are both really fresh to the game. And Lil Mars had also just returned from a trip to the US where she hadn't been mixing it up with the locals as much lately, whereas these guys had. So I do think there was, at moments, a little bit of, you know, bumping up against those inexperience and that, you know, kind of rust of getting back into the local scene. But I think in terms of character, I really enjoyed this one. I think that it really came through who the good guys were and who the naughty boys were, even if they weren't necessarily disliked by the crowd. Like, it's easy to cheer for Wakeall's Most Wanted, and Lil Mars is in that same boat where the fans want to support her, but they did a good job of still playing the antagonist role. Todd, did you manage to check this match out at all?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Stuff, so.
Sweet. I will kind of hold off on jumping to Todd until we get to more of his stuff in that case. But moving on, we had the newly heel-turned Zeke Andino managing to get a win over EC Diamond in a one-on-one here. Jeff, I don't know how familiar... I think, you know, we've heard you talk a little bit about Andino and Diamond. What did you think of this one-on-one match?
Oh, look, it was all action. It was a really nice match. It kind of started quickly and then sort of ground down, and I really liked the way they transitioned from a quick start to that grounding down period. Zeke and Andino, they're both so impressive, and they both have huge futures. Both Zeke and EC Diamond are great. And I really liked that they just had a good match, a good, solid, fun match. And I think Zeke was the right person, obviously, to go over.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that it's these two have got a lot of history and a lot of chemistry. They are really good at just being in a ring together. They've done it a ton of times. You know, they had an hour-long Iron Man match not all that long ago. So they know each other really well. But that new dynamic of Andino playing a definitively heel role, I think added something interesting to it. Jamie, what did you think?
Yeah, that was my big takeaway from this match. Seeing Zeke as the bad guy for once. It was kind of off-putting to begin with, but I think he did a really good job of kind of antagonizing the crowd and really forcing them to switch their allegiances and go against him for a change.
I agree with
I kind of feel like he needed that turn, though. I kind of feel like, especially with the Pro League crowd anyway, he's been very, like, beige. Like, yeah, we know he's a good guy, but there's no real feeling behind him.
And unfortunately, it was a little bit of what we were saying about Trent O'Day before his heel turn as well.
Go on, Jeff.
I agree with Sebastian James Sebastian James is saying here. He's really enjoying Zeke's heel run so far. Zeke is showing a lot of intensity. I'm so sorry about that. SJB's saying that. There you go.
Just call him Bastion. He'll be right.
Bastion James is what we call him on commentary.
Yeah.
Both lads are in incredible shape at the moment too. They're both looking awesome.
Yeah. Looking phenomenal. Bloody DJ in the chat saying Andino is a heel is giving him a bit of
Queensland?
It's not that. It's everyone's getting on
What's
the
in
Slex.
the water in Queensland? Everybody looks... Yeah, they all look
body biz, baby. Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah. And Trent O'Day on the money here can have a great one-off, or you could form a really engaging story with these two. They're just always good to watch. Both are phenomenal. Absolutely impossible to argue with that, Trent.
You know what, too? Like, Trent's another good example of that, because Trent at Pro League wasn't really getting that connection with the crowd as a babyface. Like, he was getting cheered and all that, but it wasn't like the same as what it was like when he would come out with his tag team partner as Bro Day. So, like, his heel turn has really unlocked a whole different side of him and a whole intensity that crowd can really, like, latch onto.
Yeah, and we'll mention in a second, like, just the crowd response that Trent is getting now as part of Team QWA. But before that, a little bit of a palate cleanse from that high-intensity work and into something that the commentary team just were having a ball with. And that is Jesse Love up against Carl Parker in a match that had just more baby oil than I've ever seen in a ring at once. Really impressive stuff in terms of gyration. Jamie, what did you think of whatever this was between Jesse Love and Carl Parker?
I wrote down very slippery match. And it was, the perfect palate cleanser coming off the Zeke Andino EC Diamond, which was your classic straight up wrestling match, to then go into something a bit more entertaining and lighthearted and silly. Was really fun. I'm interested to see if like these two are going to maybe go like tag team for a little while, because I think that could be like an interesting pairing between those two.
Yeah, definitely a fun dynamic there. Jeff, what did you think of this one?
I mean, this was fucking silly, wasn't it? But great. Like, it really was. It was so silly. All they needed was Cava in there, and you have three of the oiliest men in Australian wrestling. Really. And I mean, Cav's a good mate, but you know, he himself will tell you part of his gimmick is baby oil. It's a big part of his gimmick. Look, I thought this was great. Jesse Love is such a handsome man. It's hard not to kind of go, there's a very handsome man. I'm going to enjoy this. But yeah, it was great. So much baby oil.
I also should emphasize just how gorgeous Carl Parker is in person. Like, it doesn't quite come across how tall and like defined he is. Like, these two are absolute specimens, right? Wild Angel suggests Carl Parker, Jesse Love, and Cava triple threat with Michael Nakazawa as special guest ref. What were you going to say there, Todd?
We were in the gorilla position watching this match, and I think I looked at Jesse Zero, who was running like the point at the time. So way to put this match before us and make us feel like shit walking out, mate. If I ever wanted body issues, this was the perfect time you could bring this up. Thank you.
The following match had you with Bobby Bishop as well, somebody who's been very open talking about the way body dysmorphia has affected him in wrestling. So coming out right after this one, good luck, mate. Jeepers creepers. But no, I thought that this was a ton of fun. Definitely, as you said, Jamie, like a palate cleanser. I think the positioning in the card was really clever here because the next thing on this is a big, hard-hitting, long series of matches. So going into that segment, you want everybody to be feeling a bit fresh, feeling ready to watch something big. And Love and Parker absolutely delivered.
Yeah, because the next match was very, story-driven.
Yes,
like, the ongoing story of the show. So, yeah.
The other thing about this Love and Parker match is it wasn't just silliness. There was a bit of nice ring work behind it as well. So let's not forget there was some good in-ring action as well. Yeah, sure, it was silly and it was fun. And I liked this kind of comedy in wrestling, but there was also a wrestling match that was pretty damn good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Jesse Love is still very underrated as an actual wrestler as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Carl Parker has just gotten back from, a big tour of, I can't remember if it was the US or the UK. It might have been the UK, I think.
UK, I believe.
Yeah, and his in-ring work is really, really top-notch. And the two of them are really good at making sure that a comedy match still feels like a wrestling match. Like that's really, this was there to be a comedy match without ever stopping the competitive back and forth in-ring stuff between everything. Trent O'Day saying, where has Jesse been for ages? Brother is polished and looks the goods. I mean, where has he been as in, brother should be everywhere. Yeah, he's one of those names where it surprises me that you don't see him interstate and that kind of thing more often because, you want to talk about look.
I love Jesse, but Jesse really was just happy doing what he was doing.
Mm.
It hasn't really been till recently he's decided, look, I should maybe try and get out and about more. Which is I love Jesse, not the smartest dude in the world. Just took him a while to get to it. But now he's there. Let's see him get everywhere.
Especially when you look at the pairing of him and Jazzy as a duo, on a show, they immediately come out and you go, oh, they're stars.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to put too fine a point on this, but if in the next, 2 years we get Lucky O'Leary against Jesse Love, I will be a very happy man because that's going to be fucking hilarious.
Absolutely. And speaking of Jazzy, as you did there, Jamie, a really excellent addition to this match, just being in the right place at the right time, along with Horsey, who was also there, just a lot of good fun stuff going on and everyone really nailing their role. Moving on to a much more intense story-focused sequence here, the Devil's Gauntlet match. So the storyline going into this, we're coming off over a year of Bobby Bishop feuding with Jesse Daniels and Mitch Ryder, along with Todd Eastman, turning from face to heel in refusing to take over half of the company when Mitch beat, a New Japan Pro Wrestling champion for his career and half the company in the form of Robbie Eagles. But the Devil's double, Jesse Daniels, came out and stole half the company, and now he's decided that he is going to torture both Ryder and Bishop, and the way he decided to do that was with a Devil's Gauntlet tag team match. So this started with Bobby Bishop and Mitch Ryder beating Decadence in a standard tag team match, which was a pretty good match, I reckon. And then as soon as that finished, out came Logan Pierce and Rip Riley, the team of Undeniable from Wide Bay, ready for a tables match. Bobby and Mitch managed to survive that, but then out came Team QWA, Sam Cannon and Trent O'Day, who were able to pick apart what was left of Bobby and Mitch and get awarded with the AWA tag team titles, feeding into this long-term story where Jesse Daniels used to run AWA, the precursor to Pro Wrestling League. So lots of long-term story coming through in this, along with 8 different competitors through the course of this match. Jeff, how did you feel about this gauntlet?
I have a question. Who was that idiot outside the ring? There was a guy.
Lachlan. He was on commentary.
Oh, right. Thanks,
it was
mate. Thanks for the clarification. He was giving me the ears. He was giving me the ears. No, it was great.
Crowd seemed to love him. I'm just saying.
Yeah, they did for some
which felt wrong. That felt really
it's
weird.
bizarre.
Felt wrong to you, did it? It felt wrong to you.
You must have been so tempted to, as the honky tonk man once said, he might slap some babies and kiss some mamas. You must have been tempted to go up there and start giving it some aggro, mate.
The funny thing is that promo that Jesse cut, and then I interjected with that thing. That was all ad lib. That was not planned at all. So I've just gone, because in my head I'm like, he's just like, well, I hold nothing against you, and like, well, we still think you're a piece of shit. Like, we don't care, mate. We think you're a dickhead. So, and then that's when the crowd were chanting my name, I looked at fucking Mitch in the ring, and we just went, well, that's fucking weird.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you're sorry to digress, because I think it's worth chatting about this for a minute. You've pretty much been a career heel, haven't you?
There, yeah, for sure. 100%.
Yeah, I know there's a couple of places that cheer you, but...
We've done it for a little... We've done it like on and off in different places, but this is the first time in probably... it'd probably be the first time in 14 years that I'd been ever tried to be a babyface. So,
I know that there was like some weirdness up in Toowoomba early on in the Atomic Pro Wrestling history, because Mitch is from Toowoomba. So Mitch being there was just, everyone was like, that's our boy, right? But
yeah,
that kind of happened without it being the story. This is like the first time that you have turned face for a long-term story of Todd's a good guy.
Yeah. And it's really weird, but it is what it is.
And I just want to mention again, your guys teaming with Bobby. I thought they gave each match a really nice amount of time, so they could tell almost a different story in each match. And I found that intriguing and really well done. Well done to the bookers. Also, Todd, your little bit of interference, great. Really nice work on that. I like Decadence. I want to see what they do. I think is this their first match?
Yeah, but I think they're leading to a breakup already.
Oh.
They've been together for ages.
We just had the turn in Toowoomba last week. So if you're keeping up with Atomic Pro Wrestling, that's ongoing at the moment.
Hello and goodbye.
But I did like them. The tables match was a lot of fun, and then that final match, Cannon and O'Day are looking good, and you knew because of the nature of the match that it was most likely Bobby and Mitch not quite getting there, and that was the story. I thought this was great. A decent amount of time. I think, but did you start to lose the crowd at one point, because they seemed to almost drift away during that tables match for a minute or two?
I don't know. I think it was more the fact that tables match was really not. It was just there was no real structure to it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Where everyone was just fighting everywhere, so it was kind of hard for people to keep a track of everything that was going on.
Right.
I also think it's a little bit interesting with the team of Logan Pierce and Rip Riley. I obviously rate them massively. Logan Pierce, for almost his entire career, has been a babyface. Within the last 12 months, really, has been the heel turn. Because I think that, or it would have been a little over 12 months now. But as far as I can think, with the Pro League crowd, most of their exposure to him has been as a guy whose finisher was the Silly Salmon, which is, if you can imagine it, maybe sillier than the Worm. Like a very, you know, silly, fun babyface character. And now he has, since going to the New Japan Dojo, has really turned up that viciousness. I think he's phenomenal. But I still think that some of the Pro League crowd are in the adjusting period for that. And Rip Riley is someone that is, you know, almost the king of the tweeners sometimes. He is whatever you need him to be at the time. Obviously, the last show with him hitting that driver on our good friend Sebastian, he's definitely going down that heel route at the moment. But sometimes it's hard to know whether to cheer or boo him. And then you've got Mitch, who's just turned from heel to face. And technically, these guys are teaming with Bobby and Wide Bay as a heel tag team, but Bobby's a face here. There's some curious things going on with that exact matchup.
Just before you continue, shout out to Bobby. He is looking fantastic because he came out. He came out in the trunks, and I went, "Yeah, that works. That's a good look for him." Really looking great. I don't know if he's on the Slacks. Or if he's
he's not on the Slacks, but he's doing like that full-on push-up challenge thing.
Yeah, he's doing push-up challenge. He's working hard.
Yeah, but he's a maniac with those burpees as well. So
he's the man's a machine.
Bobby, you're looking great. I know you listen to the show occasionally, so you know, good stuff, mate.
I'm very excited because I gave him a high five too, and I'm like, just don't get carried away. That was an in-the-moment thing. Like he started throwing up the top tier sign. I'm like, brother, no.
Oh man, but yeah, I thought the tables match was really fun and a good way to break up the flow of this match, right? Rather than it just being tag match, tag match, tag match. Jamie, do you have any highlights from this gauntlet?
Yeah, I thought that overall it was great, and I thought it was a great way to sort of get more sympathy on Mitch too, because like, having just turned, you really wanted to like amp up that the crowd should be backing him. And in this, to have him have to go through 3 pretty serious matches like this was a great way to do that and get the crowd more behind him. And I loved the finish of it being Trent making Bobby tap out.
Sorry, just to anyone who's hearing the audio version of this podcast, Bobby Bishop in the chat has just thrown in a thanks, Jeff, and top tier tease up in the middle of Jamie's really, you know, quite accurate discussion there. And Trent O'Day in the chat with fuck Bobby Bishop. Boys,
it's like when Hornswoggle tried to join like DX.
Yeah. Oh boy.
So what you're saying is Bobby Bishop was the Raw general manager.
Wow, that and he hides under rings a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I think. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. There were 8 people in this match, which is a lot to do back to back. If you ask me my top 10 wrestlers in Queensland, I reckon at least 5 of them would have been in this match, right? Like this was star-studded, and I think everyone delivered. Like, this was a lot of wrestling back-to-back. And I think that it's possible there was a little lull in the middle, but the crowd was engaged. And if, you know, when it comes down to 3 back-to-back matches with one of the teams in there the whole time, to keep the crowd engaged over the course of that, really, really well done. Shout out to Todd, who's got the crowd on his side. Like, I just... This is the kind of thing where everyone in the ring was delivering. And that's really, really impressive for this type of match.
I got to say, I like the way that they planned it, the fact that after every match, Jesse kept throwing extra. Like, first match was just like a match, and then the boys won it. So it's like, okay, we're going to make this a tables match. So then the boys won that, and he goes, all right, then we're going to take Todd away from you, and I'm going to give you 2 of the top guys in Queensland to try and face. Yeah. So like they just kept amping up he just kept amping up the difficulty level, because eventually even the best 2 people are going to wear out to that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
On that, really good work from Jesse as a heel. Like, really, as a heel manager, a heel commissioner, because it's so easy to just become a cliche. and be like, "Wahaha, I'm evil. I'm just doing what McMahon does." But he's got a bit of comedy about him as well. I really liked the promo that opened the show with the 4 guys who were in a match in a couple of matches' time. It really built it nicely. And I think he did good work on commentary as well, because he was like selling the hurt for his teams as well, and I think that's really nice to hear.
Yeah, Jamie, any other thoughts you want to share?
On the story front too, I love that like you had this like constant thread running through this show overall of Jesse now has this power in the company and he's kind of exerting his influence over different aspects of it. And then we had like the AWA PWL like rivalry part coming in, like this, are we getting like AWL invasion storyline type thing potentially coming? And then obviously the teasing of Zero stepping back into the ring is something I'm quite interested in seeing.
Yeah, the fact that that seems to be the direction it's going is a real surprise to me, because I've known, Jesse, who runs Pro Wrestling League, for a long time now, but he was Zero before my time in Queensland wrestling, and I genuinely, personally doubt that that's going to happen. It doesn't seem like something that would be on the cards. If you'd asked me before Jesse mentioned it, I would have said, no, there's no way they're feeding that into a story. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. I think that the people behind Pro League are good at telling these long-term stories, so I'm excited to see where it goes. Sebastian James in the chat just saying he wasn't even in character. That's just what Jesse Daniels is like. And hard to argue with there, Bastian. Very true. So that, I think they did an interesting thing as well, where those matches formed the first half of the card before intermission. And in theory, the show was split up into that half was run by Jesse Daniels, with the remaining half of the show being run by Zero. So in those spots, you're seeing a little bit more, the Devil's Gauntlet, where he gets to punish someone, and he puts Strong 94 in a weird position as the tag champs and all of that stuff. And then on the second half of the show, where Zero is doing the booking, inverted commas, you see a lot more of the, the PWL title match and the openweight title with someone coming in that's a bit more, acceptable to the company ethos, which I think is an interesting way to do it. So moving into this second...
But before moving into this, so we sort of glazed over that last fall, which was like, it was really important for like Trent and Sam to be those like heavy-handed heels, whereas you had the heels in the first 2 matches, which were competitive, but then you had just someone like Sam, who would like constantly just blast people when they started getting up a little bit. Like anytime somebody started getting up, you saw Big Sam coming with like a double clothesline, or like those 2 big world's strongest slams out of nowhere sort of thing. And like I love that fact that they're not trying to be cool, and they're not trying to be liked. They're just trying to be bad guys, which is like, it sounds weird to say, but it's rare nowadays in wrestling.
Yeah, they're just like attack dogs. Like they're just vicious. And I'll be honest, they're uniquely violent. They're violently unique, you could say, Jamie. I was a little bit, I didn't want to harp on that bit of the match too much, because, and it sounds ridiculous to say, on one side you got Bobby Bishop and Mitch Ryder, and on the other side is Sam Cannon and Trent O'Day. And I don't think you could name 4 people that I have gushed more about on this podcast. Like, those 4 are bloody spectacular. And I'm gonna run the risk of just saying the same thing that I've said before over and over and over again, because at the end of the day, and I keep saying this, we're here because we enjoy wrestling. Like, maybe not Todd, but we're here because we're fans of what's going on, right? And for me, those are 4 guys that just bring out the fan in me. It's impossible for me not to just be there enjoying the work that those 4 guys do. And they did it again, If you don't have your eyes on Trent O'Day and Sam Cannon and Bobby Bishop and Mitch Ryder, you're just missing out on some of the best wrestling in Australia, as far as I'm concerned. Bobby Bishop also mentions that the show is free on YouTube. So thanks for that, Bobby. Bobby does have my back here.
Encourage him.
We encourage each other. It's terrible. Speaking of which, interview with Bobby Bishop will be coming up that I managed to get with him in the near future. Bloody DJ says, I would pay to see Jesse sell insurance. He's so jovial and entertaining. Yeah, so good stuff top to bottom there. Coming into the second half of the show, the PWL Queensland Openweight title match with Craven having his first one-on-one match for this title with a defense against Seth Tylers. Now, again, I actually got a message from Tylers the other day when this show went live, thanking me for the way that I put him over on commentary, because he's another one of those guys. I can't stop raving about him. I think and here in chat, Trent O'Day with a very clear Seth Tylers, baby. Like, the man's bloody good. And Craven needed to establish this is why I'm openweight champion, and having someone like Seth Tylers as a dance partner just makes that easy. Tylers is so great. I love his work, and I think this was a good way to establish that.
Also, just this past weekend, Tylers won the QWA Heavyweight Championship, so congratulations to Seth.
Again.
Yeah. How many times is that?
Twice, I think.
I think it's 3. Because he's, I think, held it the most in the last decade, like the highest number of times. Trent can give us an answer on that, I'm sure. But yeah, this Craven versus
Trent O'Day.
More than Trent O'Day, for sure. Trent O'Day's only had it once in the past decade, I believe. Fact check me there, Trent. Here we go. Trent O'Day said, brother Seth has suffered a little from, I don't know if I'm good enough to branch out. And he so definitely is. He's just a natural. Trent O'Day also mentions it's 4 times that he's held that title. He's held it 4, same as Sam Cannon. There you go. Great info from Trent there. The Oracle of QWA. Jamie, what did you think of this Craven versus Tylers
Just
match?
quietly, how many times more is that than you, Trent?
I think it's 3 times more. Just
3 times.
But he's still got to get another 7 to catch up to Jamie Apps. So, you know, with the 11 you've got, Jamie.
Well, that's his own belt. That doesn't count when it's his own belt.
I may have cheated.
Oh, is it? It's got a real shiny buckle.
It's his own belt, brother.
In terms of the Craven Seth Tylers match, I thought it was a brilliant debut for Seth Tylers. I love that he just didn't care like what the crowd thought. He was going to make them hate him, and he achieved that, which was exactly kind of what Craven needed as an opponent to come in and help establish him as, okay, this is the champion, this is the guy we're going to cheer for. Seth comes in and it's just like really getting in the crowd's face, making them hate him straight away. I kind of love that PWL has become this sort of premier Queensland wrestling show where it's kind of like the PWG style, where it's like everyone is fighting in these other promotions to get recognized, to come to PWL and get an opportunity on this big show. After the match, I had a little bit of an issue with Craven's celebration, like putting his foot on Seth. And it's like, I get that you just beat the heel, but that's kind of a heel move of celebrating a downed opponent in the ring, and it felt like the disrespectful heel move and all that. I'm not sure about that, but other than that, I really enjoyed the match.
Yeah, I'll quickly mention in the chat, Marston Holmes saying, if I'm not wrong, the last match Seth had before versus Craven was against Marston Holmes at QWA Double Tap. And Marston says, after working with him, I knew I had to see that match. One of the people I look up to in Queensland. Jeff, what did you think of this one-on-one for the openweight title?
I agree with you, Jamie. Craven's got such a unique presentation, and I like that. But his presentation is that of a heel. So there was a disconnect after the match. I completely agree. And that kind of stuck with me a little bit. But the match itself, bell to bell, wow. Seth Tylers, he's another one from your neck of the woods. Guy's going to be everywhere in a couple of years. He's one of those people where you go, yeah, he's tall, he's got a good look. You know he can work face. Like you just watch him, you go, this guy would make a great face, but he's so good at being a heel as well. And he worked hard. He did work hard to get those boos, and he deserved every single one of them. Just a really nice match. And that's Craven's first defense, and it was really impressive. So I want to see what he can do with the belt.
Yeah, Todd, did you manage to catch any of this?
No, honestly, I didn't. I can't remember what was happening after that. Something was going on. But what I will say is that in the past, and this isn't so much a criticism, it's just the way things have happened. In the past, most times when there's been a new champion, especially in the open weight division, we've just had so many baby faces that it ends up being like a baby face versus a baby face. And it's real. I think I've said it before. It's really hard to start establishing a good, like, solid babyface run when you're immediately splitting the crowd on their first defense. So to have someone like Seth come in and want to be hated really did help Craven establish himself as I am your babyface champion for the company at the moment, because you got Ricky Itami as the champion who is a heel. So this is your babyface, singles babyface champion you can get behind. So it's really important to have that protagonist there against him that wanted to be hated, didn't want to get a pop, didn't want to get over, if you know what I mean. He wanted to get over by being hated. Yep. So I think that's credit to Seth. And Lachlan, I've had a lot of words to say about how good I think Seth is and how much I want Seth. I wish I could get Seth out more. I wish I could have Seth at most every wide base show. I just know a lot of times financially it's just not possible.
Yeah, if you want to talk about guys that Todd and I, when we're talking privately, rave about, Seth Tyler's is one of the guys at the top of the list. The man is the goods. Trent O'Day absolutely agreeing in the chat, saying, hardest slog of my career was being a babyface trying to get over in a town I didn't live in against guys they've seen for years. That's exactly right. And I think it's worth crediting what Seth Tyler's was doing there, not just in being a great heel opponent, but in using a gimmick that he's using up in Townsville as a face, and yet still being able to bring it across as a heel. Right? He spent a lot of time doing the sexy Seth Tyler's gimmick, which is just, easy heel work. And that's not what he's doing here. He's staying true to what his character is, but differentiating it enough to make the crowd want to boo him. I think he's fantastic. And Trent O'Day put it in a great way. QWA produces the goods, boys.
And following on from what Todd said too, of establishing Craven as the face champion of the company. That's really important too with the Chaos in Koff's show coming up. Yes, that is technically kind of going to be Craven's hometown show, but you still need to have him established as a proper champion going into that to defend there. And it's not just, he's not just here because he's the hometown guy. It's because he earned this title.
Yeah, and not just a proper champion, but a proper babyface champion. Because even though he's going home, with the right attitude, anyone can get booed in their hometown. God knows every time I come off the plane in Perth, there are people protesting my existence. No, I'm joking. But
that's true anywhere, Jeff.
It is. It's not just Perth. Wow. You're quite right, Lachlan. I even went to Cooper Petey. But he did really good work, and he can really cement that belt as something special. And so I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Moving on, a fatal four-way match for number one contendership here with the big boys in action. Jackson Cross, 13, Toa, unable to stop the force that was Yeet Stevens from becoming the number one contender. A little bit of a, easy to foresee conclusion here, considering that Yeet has been nipping at the heels of Ricky Utomi for some time now. That was a big part of the storyline even back at the PWL Super Show before AEW in February. So considering that, we're halfway through the year now and he's still just getting that number one contendership, I think it was pretty obvious, especially going into the big show. But I think this was a good way to do it in showing that obviously Yeet is a big physical presence, but he's also able to beat other big physical presences. He is the biggest and the baddest, right? Like, setting up that expectation, I think, was really good. And with guys like Jackson Cross and 13 and Toa, who are massive guys that can move and, you know, they make you go, oh, how can someone beat that guy? To throw 4 of them in a ring and then go, yeah, Yeet Stevens can beat the other 3, I think was really well done. I think the match delivered on having big, meaty men slap meat, and I thought this was fun. Jamie?
Yeah, I thought it was a super entertaining match as well. And yeah, when you initially look at this lineup, you go, oh yeah, classic meat match. They're all just going to get in there and throw clotheslines and hammer on each other. But there was a few surprises with like Jackson Cross hitting a moonsault and stuff like that. I was like, whoa, where'd this come from? So that made it something a little bit different from what you initially expect from this, looking at it on a card.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff?
Love this. This is one of those wonderful matches where every person who walked in came out looking better because they were in this match. I mean, Yeet Stevens is just, there's so much to Yeet. Jackson Cross I really like. 13 I've obviously seen down here in Melbourne a couple of times. He's been here. Really impressed with 13. And Toa, you can't say enough good stuff about Toa. I think I'm interested in seeing how he goes with Jeannie down here in a couple of weeks. But boy,
no, that's
Moko Kai that'll be down there.
Oh, that's Moko, not Toa. I apologize.
The other member of Culture.
Yes. It'll be interesting to see how they go anyway. And apologies to both, to all 3 of them for messing that one up. But this was great. Like, can't say enough good things. And I think the right person won in that he'll be good in the chase against Ricky and whoever that was.
Yeah, interesting.
Tell you, that was one of the biggest yeet bombs I think I've ever seen.
It was massive, wasn't it?
I was backstage watching it, and I was just going, "That's a long fucking way down for someone that size."
Yeah.
That's a long way down for anybody.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Credit to all of these guys as well, like, for taking the things that each other was dishing out, because no one was going easy in this one.
Yeah, because I said that, like, guys like Jackson and that don't have to take those bumps very often, because who's big enough to be able to give them those bumps? Yeah. So I was just like, when he let you go, how long were you in the air before you realized, I don't know when I'm going to hit?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, it was, he goes, there was a point there, I'm just like, fuck, when is the ground coming? Next thing, oh, there it is.
And Wild Angel in chat saying Moko and Eugenie and MCW is going to be great, but I can't wait for the trio to start going all over the country. Yeah, the whole of Culture is just phenomenal, and like the stuff we're seeing in MC Dub's really exciting. So I love
how they've introduced Culture in MCW by just like bringing one in at a time. It leaves so much more for us.
When I caught up with Jeannie the first time, and then, you know, we started chatting, and I said, I'm really excited because hopefully this means Culture comes. And she didn't reveal she was going to win the title in a month or so, but she goes, yeah, just wait, mate. Just wait.
Yeah.
So
and
she's
while we're on the topic of Culture, can I say it is terrifying how scary they are in the ring compared to how nice and sweet all 3 of them are in person. Like, talk about the most like soft-spoken, lovely people who get in the ring and just beat the shit out of people. Like, love that about them. You know, 13 again, like, such presence in the ring. You know, walks the walk, talks the talk. Jackson Cross is someone who is so technical for a man his size. Like, he could just be a hoss, but he's not. He's a real worker, and I love that. And Yeet Stevens is like just the king of the baby faces in Queensland. It's fantastic stuff.
13's another guy too that over the past like 6 months has really worked on his body as well. So like before he was just a really big dude. He was just naturally a big guy. Now he's a big guy with muscle, which is even more dangerous for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think this was about the first time I've seen him in like a match because I didn't see that MCW show. And he was really impressive. Like as soon as he walks out, you go, "Oh, this is someone I need to keep an eye on." And then
he's
the ring
large
work
human.
backed it up.
I remember back in the day, he was like a tall, lanky guy, and he moved the way you expected a tall, lanky guy to move. And then he put on some pounds, and he kept moving like a lanky guy. And then now he's just become like a ball of muscle. It's insane to watch. Bash and James in the chat saying 13's character work is always so good. Love getting to see him more at PWL. Yeah, couldn't agree more there, Bastion. And then moving on to the main event to find out who would be defending against Yeet Stevens at the big show. And it was Ricky Utomi who managed to defeat Mick Moretti, who was up for the challenge. This was, unfortunately, not the match I wanted it to be. I love Moretti's work. I think Ricky is such a solid in-ring performer who's really got the crowd hating seeing him as champion at the moment. This one didn't land in exactly the ways I wanted it to. Did you feel the same, Jeff?
I felt there was something missing, and I can't put my finger on what it was. They're both so good at what they do. Moretti, you can't say enough good things about Moretti. And Rufio/Ricky Utomi is really working well as your heel champ in that territory right now. But there was definitely something awry or something slightly missing from this, in my opinion. As I said, I can't tell you what it was.
Yeah. Todd, any insight here?
I just think for starters, it took them way too long to get into it. Like the stuff with Ricky taking off his pants and like by that time of the crowd just want to see a match. Do you know what I mean? They and I understand you're trying to do it, you're trying to get your shtick over and all of that sort of stuff. But if I was to point to anything, I probably would have said it's that, because by the time the match got started, the crowd were probably already half checked out. So it's hard to get them back into that when you've already got them on the back foot, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I also think there's an element of, I think that the card is really well laid out. But if you take the Devil's Gauntlet as 3 matches, then this comes out to be the 9th match on the card. So there has been a lot of wrestling up to this point in the show. And then to have that wait to get into the actual action of this match, I think you do have a crowd that is a little bit on the tireder side.
I think if they were going to do this rigmarole, they should have swapped your match, Todd, to the end as the big, maybe the baby faces will win. And that also gives Jesse a little more to do in the second half. I know you could have still split it up that little bit and had Ricky and Moretti finish the first half, because your match is the important story right now in PWL. And the other match, it's ongoing, but that missing thing.
I get what you're saying, but through the year of Pro League anyway, you would start, if you kept having the champion be in the semi-main or in the main going into intermission, you start sort of lowering the prestige of the championship.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I didn't
because
know that it was the show before.
Well, the show before was when Mitch and Robbie headlined. Was it Mitch? Yeah, Mitch and Robbie headlined that show.
Yep.
So, and Ricky didn't even have a match.
Yeah.
So, if you'd have done it again, then it would have been not till I think July's our next show. So it wouldn't have been until July where he had an actual championship match on the show in the main event, and that's over half of your year before without your champion being there. That needed to be the main event.
If you track backwards as well, before that purge, you were going back to the Super Show. And then, so before the Super Show, the last time that you've had Ricky defend the title on a show was last year, right?
Yeah.
There does need to be a point of him main eventing.
Yeah, the match he was in didn't even main event the Super Show. We main evented that as well.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Good point. Well made.
Jamie, thoughts on the main?
I kind of agree with everyone there that didn't quite hit the level that I wanted from a Ricky Itomi Mick Moretti match. I don't know if it was just like it didn't really have the heart. Like it started with kind of the silliness of the reveal of the Daisy Dukes, which I'm just gonna say that's not it. That's not the look for Ricky Itomi. I like the jeans better.
Yeah.
It just didn't feel like either of them were taking it all too seriously. Like Mick was kind of just there being silly Mick. Ricky was kind of there in Daisy Dukes being silly Ricky, not serious. I'm defending the title and like I am the guy here. Prove why you deserve this title. So maybe that's why it didn't quite hit the peak that we all wanted from it. But it is always a pleasure to watch Mick, and he always brings something unique, like the boxing in the Trio Worm spot. That was something I haven't seen before. I was like, oh, that's a fun spot, but yeah, just kind of didn't quite hit the level I wanted.
Was it two guys that you think are main event guys not working a main event style match in the main event?
Yes, basically.
Because that's what it sounds like the way you're saying it. Not wanting to put words in your mouth.
Yeah, that's basically it though. Like neither of them were taking it 100%. Like they were working hard, but not let's go out there and really make everyone else be like, oh yeah, that's why they were the main event.
And I think pursuant to your point about making sure this is the main event, I felt that the competitors, the participants, didn't treat it like a main event. PWL have such sparse shows through the year. They do what, 6? They do every other month, Todd? Is that about it?
4 to 6. Like it was 4 last
4
year.
to
I think
6.
it's going to be 6 this year. I'm not sure.
So when you've got the opportunity to have a main event, make it the main fucking event. Make it the big thing.
Bastion James in the chat saying, do you think it suffered for the same reason Yeet winning the 4-way felt expected? I'll also add in that I think that once you had Yeet as the number 1 contender, the idea that Ricky wasn't going to retain here, which already seemed slim, right? Like we said, Ricky has had, obviously he had the big feud with Outback Adam, and that was a big thing, and it really felt like the main story there. And since he beat Adam, everyone's hated him for retiring Adam, but it hasn't felt like he has been doing much other than running away from the possibility of Yeet, right? And so with Yeet being the number 1 contender, finally, after all of this time, when Ricky was the guy who retired Adam, Yeet's about to challenge for the championship. We all know that Ricky's going to be the champion going into that match, right? So it does take a little bit of something extra to really convince the crowd that this is something where you've got to be paying attention at any second because Mick is the guy who could, and it just didn't feel like that kind of match.
Yeah. And like, I think you guys tried to save it on the commentary, like with saying that Mick was the inaugural PWL champion. Like, I think if Mick had cut like a promo talking about how I've seen what you've been doing since retiring Outback Adam, I'm coming here to take that belt off you because I don't think you deserve it. And me as the inaugural champion, I want to restore it back to where it should be. Something just like that maybe could have given it a bit of edge.
Yeah, I don't
I also think
at all.
There was just one thing you guys said on commentary that kind of stuck with me. And I was like, I almost wish you hadn't said that. I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was you or someone else, Lachlan. You said something like, Mick Moretti's largely retired, so it's a rare treat to see him. Now, I know that's true, and I know why you said it, but it does make the match, the outcome, very much a foregone conclusion for people watching at home because it's like, this guy's retired. He's not going to win the match because he's retired. And it's you know, if it was you, if it was someone else, nothing against anybody
it was for
at all.
sure me because it's hard to get around that point, right? Like,
yeah, but you could have.
He just hasn't been wrestling.
No, he hasn't. But you could have gone, hey, it's great to have a legend like Moretti. He's one of Australia's most prominent wrestlers. most important wrestlers for the last decade. Look, he's been in King of Trios. Just build him up a little more instead of going, look at the old man fighting.
Yeah.
Because that's how it translated to me. Oh, sorry, that's how it translated for me. I don't know about the other guys, but I think if you hadn't have said that, it probably would have been a bit more engaging at home.
Yeah, no, great point. And
the video, did they show the post-show beatdown on the kid?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I haven't watched the video, so I don't know.
That was good. That really put a lot of heat on
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so to give a little bit of extra context for anyone who didn't watch it, as part of a previous show, Yeet, for his weapon in the Purge, used a fan from the audience and picked him up and drove the feet into someone. And Ricky, after the match, decided to offer him a bit of a thank you in the ring by bringing him into the ring and absolutely beating the tar out of him with the help of his heater, Riker. And Yeet came out to make the save to set up the big show coming next, which is Homecoming, a return to the old AWA name for the big show of the year. So I feel like, as much as I'm a little less hot on this match than I wish I was, I've got a comment from Wild Angel here saying, commentators mentioned King of Trios and Moretti's Coliseum win. It means a lot to us as wrestling fans, but how can we explain the importance to new or non-wrestling fans? And that's a really good point, right? With someone like Moretti, like, getting those points across that this is a guy who's done it all can be a bit of a challenge when he's out there throwing thongs. You know what I mean? And making that connection can be a bit strange sometimes. But I wish it was a bit more of a main event match, but I think the build that happened after was really fantastic at getting across what Ricky has been like as a heel champion and why Yeet is the babyface that the fans are screaming for. So I think that it's absolutely worth checking this show out for free on YouTube. That's right, Pro Wrestling League Doomsday. You can find the link in the description of this podcast, or else you can head on over to YouTube and search for Pro Wrestling League Doomsday. Will come up there. And if you're in the Brisbane area, definitely get around Pro Wrestling League Homecoming. It's a show that I am massively excited for. That's a name that has been around in Queensland wrestling for a long, long time. And to be back for a homecoming is going to be something very special. Before we move on, are there any final thoughts about the show? I'll start with you, Jamie.
No, like you said, it was very enjoyable. Definitely worth the watch, and I'm keen to see where these sort of story threads continue on moving forward. That's like what we said, what PWL does so well, the long-term stories.
Yeah, Jeff?
Yeah, look, it was great. It was really good. Everyone came out looking good. As I said, just that disconnect with the main. But, it was a long show, especially when for the last couple of months we've watched shows that are max 2 hours. This was about 2.5, and you really felt the extra half hour. I don't know about you guys, but really entertaining. Great work from everyone involved except that commentator.
What an idiot. Why would he say that about Moretti? What a loser. Todd, any thoughts about the show in general?
Lachlan, excellent work, mate. You know that.
Thank you. I appreciate it, mate. Now, Todd, I know that you were mostly occupied with your Devil's Gauntlet match that you got thrown out of.
Yes, very much so. Look, honestly, I only really watched maybe 3 matches on the show, like aside from the stuff that I was involved in. But like, I really enjoyed that.
Say you were watching 2 of them from ringside.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that Fatal 4-Way, and just to clear things up, Rip hit me first. So, I didn't hit him.
Very true.
He attacked me first. So, just to clear that up for everybody at home.
Yeah, no, that was payback, right? It wasn't out of nowhere.
Yes.
So, definitely check out Pro Wrestling League on YouTube there.
I know Jeff was saying that he thought that it was a long show. It didn't feel like it there.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like it didn't feel like it in the do you know what I mean? So
yeah. Guys, yeah. I mean, there have been times where the two of you and less so you, Jamie, because obviously we're newer to reviewing show by show, but where you've both said, geez, this MCW show felt long, and I've been in the audience and gone, well, actually, no, it didn't. So I can completely understand what you're saying. Live, it didn't, but on video, it's one of the longer Australian shows, for better or worse.
Yeah.
But everything we've said about the main event, watch it. It's two great workers. Like it's not a bad main event.
It's not bad. It's definitely not bad.
No, it was a very tight show from top to bottom, I thought.
Yeah, it was a good show, though.
And
I'm not criticizing. I'm just.
I think if we're being critical of the main event for not feeling like the main, I guess that just points out how really excellent the rest of the card was. That you can have workers like Ricky Utomi and Mick Moretti wrestling a main event match of good quality, and we go, it feels like this is kind of where it dropped off at the end, right? Like that speaks to just how high quality most of the work on this show was. So, yeah, absolutely. Head on over to YouTube, check out Pro Wrestling League, because it's, there's such great wrestling on around Australia, and we're just desperate for people to see it. So here's a list, courtesy of Michael Lee at Australian Wrestling Community on Facebook, where we've got some of the shows that are coming up this week in Australian wrestling. If you're in New South Wales, you've got Integrity Sports Entertainment's Infinity on Friday, June 13th. And on Saturday, June 14th, Australian Wrestling Superstars is on. Up here in Queensland, IPW's Impact Pro Wrestling Australia have Cbus Super Stadium. That's right. During the Gold Coast Titans versus Manly Seagulls NRL match, the pre-show entertainment is going to be put on by Impact Pro Wrestling. That's tomorrow night, Friday, June 13th. And in Victoria, Adrenaline Professional Wrestling has Breakout 56 on Friday, June 13th. And Renegades of Wrestling's Indestructible is on Sunday, June 15th. Let's check out that card in a little more detail. Indestructible for Renegades of Wrestling at the Northcote Theatre this Sunday is going to have the Glow Up versus Aisha and Ari Nicole. It's going to have High Life versus Rapid Fire. It's going to have JXT versus Jake Andrew Arthur, OLY. It's going to have Caveman Ugg versus Robbie Hart. It's going to have the winner takes all contender versus contender match with Lockie Hendricks versus Sam Yanis, addressing something we were speaking about who the number one contender is going to be, with those two going at it for the right. The Renegades Tag Team Championship is going to be on the line with the Ambush defending against the Bastard Brothers, Crackerjack and Gore. The Renegades Women's Championship on the line when Indy Hartwell defends against Tali, as well as the Renegades World Championship with Mitch Waterman defending against Tyson Reed. A completely stacked show. So make sure you head to renegadesofwrestling.com to check out if tickets are still available for that one, because I have to imagine that if they are tight. Get in this Sunday, June 15th at the Northcote Theatre. There's also a couple more big shows coming up worth talking about. PWA's King of the Metros at the end of the month, June 27th. That one's going to be headlined by the King of the Metro 30-person Rumble match, but it's also going to have a PWA heavyweight title match with Chevs defending against Kai Drake. It's going to have a PWA tag team title match where the Backslide Girls, Everett Connors and Shay Cassidy, will defend their titles against the Velocities, Jude London and Paris De Silva. And the Soul of PWA title is going to be on the line with Robbie Eagles defending against Michael Spencer. So a couple of challenges from MK Plus Ultra going for titles there. That's very exciting. An update to ticketing for Ballroom Brawl with MCW. Only 3 sections remain for Ballroom Brawl. Over 800 tickets have been sold. There's great value general admission seated tickets that are available now at mcwtix.com.au. That's mcwtix.com.au. It's suitable for all ages. That card's got a Ballroom Brawl 30-man Rumble match. It's got the Sacrament with Edward Dusk versus Rocky Monero. It's got mixed tag action as Erica Reed and Caveman Ugg take on Culture. As we mentioned before, Eugenie and Moko Kai taking on the champs. And in a number 1 MCW Tag Team Contendership Tournament final, Mitch Waterman and Ryan Rappert are going to take on Anth Cather and the Clydesdale. There is so much going on around the world of Australian wrestling. Jeff, what do you have to add there, mate?
Just to correct you, Eugenie is the women's champion at MCW. So Eugenie and Moko are not going up against the champs. Of course, Ugg is the MCW World Heavyweight Champion, but Eugenie is the women's champ. So it's going to be really interesting.
Men's champ on one side, women's champ on the other in mixed tag action. Like, that's a hell of a way to put a match together, right? So, like, no matter where you are in the country, there's great wrestling around.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah, and
it's going to be one special show. Ballroom Brawl always is.
Absolutely. And like, I'm barely keeping up with all of the absolutely stacked shows that are on around the country. If you want to keep up with them, you really need to be subscribed to Wrestle Radio Australia. You can do it on twitch.tv/Wrestle Radio Australia. You can do it on YouTube. You can do it on Spotify. You can do it on Podcast Addict, wherever you get your podcasts. You can go hit that subscribe button. And we're not just talking about Australian wrestling. We're talking about what's going on around the world of wrestling. We're also talking about things that happen in the Australian wrestling community. Like, you will be able to hear an interview that's been done with Andrew Hastings about Backstage Segment, which is a night of wrestling storytelling. I believe for those watching live, there's going to be a preview of that interview as we go into our break.
Yeah, but it's more than that. It's also got Dave Woodhead, Triple J interviewer is also part of Backstage Segment. Hastings is a mate. He's done WrestleBrania a bunch of times. Very, very funny man. And I'm sure there are lots of laughs in this interview. And he's always up for anything. So, yeah, Hastings is a good bloke. If you're in Sydney, get into Backstage Segment. I think it's a great format.
Awesome. Well, that's a lot just in Australia. So, oh my goodness, we've still got to cover WWE and AEW with All In coming up, and Money in the Bank just passed, and there is just too much. So we're going to have to split it up with a break and be back to talk about what's going on around the world of wrestling right after this.
We here at Wrestle Radio Australia have had a lifelong dream since May to attend Crown Jewel. So we are excited to offer you all the chance to sponsor us in going over there for a holiday. Sorry, we mean to cover the event. Sponsor perks include your logo or name drawn on our shirts in a brand new Sharpie. Logo on shirts we intend to sell for profit. A firm handshake from Lockheed, gifts we buy at the airport on our way back from Perth. More cool stuff we'll think of later. Trust us, it'll be a smash hit. Plus, we are going to save you the hassle of going through a reputable site like GoFundMe. That's right, you can just send your money directly to us. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to give us money.
This advertisement is a parody and should in no way be taken seriously. As professionals, we feel that we should pay our own way and not ask people for handouts.
Going back to like Backstage Segment, when you talk about a storytelling night, what type of stories are we talking about? Are we talking about like road trips people have been on, or just like specific, like a story of a match that they had, or
all of the above. So the idea is it's just a real life wrestling story is the idea. So yeah, absolutely. Road stories, things gone wrong in the ring, training under famous wrestlers, working briefly as an extra with famous wrestlers, things like that. Generally funny, like it is a funny show. Me and Dave keep it pretty funny up top as well. We do fun giveaways and things like that. I'll talk about that in a minute, but the idea as well is that like it's no cameras, no recording. We do want people shooting, like we do, and we do get it. Like without giving away who or what or whatever it was, people were talking shit about times they'd worked with John Cena at the last show. Like it was, people were like talking proper shit. It's supposed to be. It's somewhere between like a shoot interview, shoot podcast sort of thing, and a stand-up comedy night. It's somewhere in between there. So anything you'd hear on, one of those, not the really grimy, yucky ones, but like, funny story about something that's happened on the road, or something's gone wrong in the ring, or someone embarrassing themselves, people losing their gear, like stuff like that. They've been, I can't really stress enough, because I won't lie to you, there were haters. There were people who said they couldn't do it. There were people who said it couldn't be done. I was so impressed by how good the wrestlers were at it and the effort they put in. And, these guys are always trying to get themselves over. They're always trying to promote. So they give it their all every time, which I really, as someone who's done 4 million open mics to 3 people in my lifetime, I can really respect that. So, yeah, they're hilarious stories. Wrestlers, if you're watching this and you haven't spent a lot of time with, like, what wrestlers sort of behind-the-scenes stories, wrestling's a crazy world. Wrestling's such a strange, insane world with these such big characters, but not as in characters as in gimmicks, characters as in the people who do it. You've got to be a special kind of sick a little bit to throw yourself to the ground on purpose 100 times a night for your job or for your dreams, to try to get a job in that.
On your weekends.
I get it. It's great. People to me, like, I work a day job and stuff. People to me will be like, oh, you do comedy. And because I've been doing it a long time, so I don't think about it being scary or anything. Like, that's not the world I'm living in. But is, what if no one laughs? Isn't that scary? Isn't that bad? What happens if you embarrass yourself? What happens if there's someone you like, but they see you not get a laugh? Do you just die inside? It's like, well, yeah, it doesn't feel good, but, all my heroes, cut their hairlines open with tiny razor blades. So I don't know what you want me to like.
Yeah, but you also haven't lived until you're bombed, really.
Oh,
and that goes
goes
for wrestling as well as comedy. Like, there've been plenty of times out there where I've seen people like talking up this spot. I'm going to do it. It's going to go up. They're going to love it. And it's just like fucking crickets. You're like, oh, that's going to be fun when they get backstage.
If a wrestler doesn't have, if a comedian, and I assume it's the same with a wrestler, if a comedian doesn't have, 100 stories of the worst gigs they've ever done and the worst bombs they've ever had, you're not a real comic, brother. You're not, you haven't done the time yet. Like, the absolute best in the world have eaten shit, and mountains of it, and learned to love the taste. Like, it's absolutely, like, that's a mark of, that's a mark of understanding, is to be like, oh yeah, I did that one, and oh, I got chased out of the building and all that sort of stuff. So, absolutely.
Absolutely incredible stuff there. That interview with Andrew Hastings going live at some point soon on the Wrestle Radio Australia feed. So whether you catch that on YouTube, Monday on the Wrestle Radio Australia feed. So whether you catch that on YouTube or on your podcast feed of choice, absolutely a conversation that I will be checking out on Monday night. Definitely get amongst everything we've got going up here at Wrestle Radio Australia, because it's not just Making Chicken Salad that we do every Thursday night. We're also doing those interviews with people around wrestling, like Andrew Hastings from Backstage segment, and an interview that I am just about to upload for some editing that I did with Bobby Bishop at a recent show. So absolutely make sure you're checking out everything going on at Wrestle Radio Australia. Welcome back to Making Chicken Salad, the Wrestle Radio Australia show, where we talk about everything going on around the world of wrestling. It's time to go to the other side of the planet where the big boys play. Let's talk about WWE and a man who has not had his contract not renewed anymore. Ron Killings is with WWE, not as R-Truth anymore, but under his real human name. This has been a big conversation online about whether he was actually being let go from WWE and the feedback had them re-sign, or whether it was a plan all along. Todd, do you want to talk about the reception to that before we talk about any more about the actual storyline?
Yeah, look, his contract lapsed. Like, it ran out. Whatever negotiations they might have had for him re-signing obviously didn't come to fruition until after the contract had run out. So, and maybe it was the crowd, the chanting of the crowd that got that thing done and re-signed and that all of that sort of thing. Maybe it was the fact that, because there was rumors that WWE kind of lowballed Ron on the re-signing. So maybe Ron's gone, okay, I'll take the money. I'll take the lower end of the money you're telling you want to give me, but I want this. I want to be Ron Killings. I want to be more serious. I don't want to be the R-Truth character as such anymore. Maybe that's what happened. I guess we're going to find out as the future goes on with it. But he was definitely out of he was definitely out of contract, because they wouldn't have had him do what he did on the SmackDown before it. So
if you've never seen the Ron the Truth Killings character from TNA, the first couple of years when he was in there, you're in for a treat. He was a great heel, such a good heel, and I think that's what he wants to be in WWE. I think he wants the opportunity to turn heel, and he's already showing signs of it. His promo on Monday Night Raw was leaning into heel territory. So I think they're going to move him on from Cena pretty quickly. And, obviously, as we see in a later news story. But this was great. I mean, if he was out of contract, good on WWE for reading the room enough to go, yeah, we can't let this go. We've got to try and renegotiate up with him. And Killing's son pretty much confirmed it on his social media, saying, Dad's contract definitely lapsed, and they've heard you.
I can't believe how butthurt the wrestling media was though when Hunter wouldn't say no, he was out of contract, and then we re-signed him. Like, how butthurt do you have to be with Hunter just going, "Do you enjoy the show? Yeah, it's all part of the ride." Like, I don't know how that you can be so outraged by them. Like, what did you want him to do? Just go, yep, this is what happened, blah blah blah. Fuck you, no. Like, enjoy the show.
Todd, it was a slow news week, mate.
Yeah. Wow, yeah.
I wonder if the backstage reaction of like the rest of the roster being seemingly quite annoyed that they actually let him go played a factor as well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
like,
Volta deleted everything back to when he was initially dating Ginny. So I think that that shows you, and apparently the Miz was, according to some articles, apoplectic about it. He was very upset. The Miz's contract, interestingly, expired within a month or two. So, he's been such a utility player. I don't want to get rid of him.
Yeah, but Miz is also going to be in London for a couple of months doing Gladiators.
Yeah.
Like, he's the new host of American Gladiator.
So, yeah.
Which has a bunch of wrestling people involved in it now too.
Yeah, I saw that story this morning. But the thing that, like, it's like, what do they want? Do they want WWE to keep paying him an exorbitant amount of money when they weren't really using him a hell of a lot?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they weren't
you can't pay everyone, keep everyone on the roster forever.
No, I think that the thing with Killings is that he's clearly loved by everybody. And that's like even down to, the catering guys. You've never heard anyone say a bad word about Truth. It's like when you've got a lovely old lady on reception at a business. You don't want to get rid of her because everyone loves her.
Can I just throw a hot take out there? And this is really probably won't happen, but I just want to throw it out there.
If this is anything to do with Goldberg,
No. I'm just going to
say
that's coming out there, right? Yeah, it's coming. Everybody wanted Everybody wanted R-Truth back. The crowd wanted R-Truth back. They chanted for it. They got Ron Killings back. I think in a couple of months, people are going to go, "This isn't R-Truth. This isn't who we wanted back." Like, it's cool, but like, we just don't want that back. And I think a year, he's going to be released again, and no one's really going to say anything about it. Unless he pivots and goes back to being that comedy character that he plays so very, very well. I just don't think, I think he's been doing that comedy character for that long now that it's going to be really, really hard for them to accept him as a serious, quote unquote, worker. As much as he wants to go out there and do his promos and like cut his hair and do all of that stuff. I think he's got a very big road to hoe, but it's also something that he's brought on himself because this is what he wanted to do. So anything that happens from now is kind of on him.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll also just throw in. Sorry, Jeff. I think there's an interesting question about the timelines of when this lapsing and re-signing's happening. Don't know if you noticed that when some of the tributes to R-Truth were happening, Rhea Ripley posted a picture of herself wearing an R-Truth shirt backstage, which actually turned out to be the Ron Killing shirt that they have since released on WWE Shop after his return. So they clearly had that merch set up and ready to go at some point recently, which is interesting.
No, the problem is that got debunked because there's also a photo of him on a SmackDown wearing that shirt, wrestling.
Right. Okay. There you go.
So it's just a shirt that's been out for ages, and people latched onto it going, "See, they've had this plan forever." I was like, no, he's just had that shirt forever. They just didn't release
and
it.
That's the one that they've released.
Yeah.
Lachlan, next thing you'll tell me, Chad Gable's on El Grande Americano.
I know, just coming up with ridiculous things.
Did you see the mask they put out this week?
It's a coincidence. Gable is clearly now sponsoring El Grande Americano in America, Jamie. Come on, get with the program. I
wouldn't be surprised if there's more than one person under the mask.
I think Todd, I reckon there might be. But I think, Todd, with you saying everything's on truth and things like that, there's a fair bit of speculation in there. This could, I think more trust the performer. Trust the performer in this instance because he knows what he's doing. He's gonna be truth again within 18 months, 2 years, but he knows what he's doing.
I hope it is because I like Ron. I like R-Truth the character. I like that. I just think, give it about 2 months or so, people will be like, this is not the R-Truth. It's not the R-Truth we chanted for. This is not the guy we get. That's my bad. That's on me. This is me just being a hot take, of course. I'm just throwing it out.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Let's quickly mention what Alex Fireheart has said in the chat. Not to mention, Ron isn't exactly getting any younger. Mind you, the guy moves better than a lot of people younger than him. I keep forgetting he's in his 50s. And Alex also said, hey, that's a thing. Wow. A wrestler involved in a segment that had hair cutting happened and he cut it off nice and easy. Made sure not to cheap out on the scissors there, I guess. Definitely worth giving him credit for. If nothing else, the man can cut his own hair.
Okay, let's just bring Roddy up to speed. Roddy online has said, I missed a lot of the show. Can you give a real quick summary of what's happened in Oz Wrestling at the end? It's really, really, really good. I gave Lachlan shit. Let's move on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
you can also drag the cursor back. If you drag the cursor back, you can watch it from the start.
Well, I was going to say, just when we're done, just hop on over to the podcast feed, download the audio, bing, bang, boom. Listen to it while you drive. That's what I do. Speaking of, people just doing things real casual, Gunther became champion again this week by beating Jey Uso on Raw. That was, I like Gunther as champion.
But
I don't really have much to say.
But this is where the story was leading the whole time. Gunther kept telling him, you need to stop worrying about your friends. You need to stop trying to fight everyone else's battle and worry about that championship because I'm coming for it.
Yep. Alex Fireheart accurately describes it as the title reign of all time. Definitely, it sure was a title reign that happened.
Not every title reign needs to be fucking 1,000 days and nobody breaks it. And sometimes a title reign is a reward for getting yourself over to the extent that what Jey Uso had.
I also think this was them dipping their foot in the water to see, let's give the kid a belt and see. He's still got a lot of years in him. He's great to watch. He's clearly loved by the crowd. I think that this was just, let's see how over he is, and if it works, we'll give him a longer run in a couple of years or whatever. I like this. I like that Gunther's got that belt now.
I also think that the idea of Jey as champion was maybe more exciting than anything in particular they had planned for him as champ.
But I would say that I'm happy Gunther's champion, but I want him to have a title run that's the focus of the show, not a bunch of other stuff that's going on, because that happened last time.
I think they will focus on Gunther now that he's got gold.
Don't you
fucking
whoa!
Occasionally have a title change on Raw as well.
Exactly.
Everything for the pay-per-views. Just be like, look, here's a match, and the title actually changed that no one was really expecting, and in a way that no one was expecting. Everyone kind of went, "Oh well, hey, shit, they put the belt on."
They really did it. They really did it.
I like the match too. It was a very good match.
Yeah, I mean, they can work, right? No surprise there. In NXT news, Mariah May has a new name in WWE. It's Blake Monroe. I think that sounds good. I don't mind it.
Yeah. From what I've heard, Blake is her niece's name, and then obviously
Monroe is a tribute to Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, I like it too. I think it's really good. Yeah, I like it.
I like the name.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of the presentation basically being Tony Storm.
It wasn't
Well,
Tony Storm.
It wasn't.
No,
it's not.
It's Sabrina
it's more,
Carpenter. Timeless Tony is a 40s movie character where they basically shot for shot did a Sabrina Carpenter video clip in that vignette today. Like I'll show you later. There's somebody put a photo out of the matching shots, and I'll send it to you. There's a legitimate like shot for shot reenactment of one of her video clips.
Trent O'Day pointing out that he saw somewhere that Blake Monroe is the name of an adult film star, apparently.
That is also a thing that happened.
I know where you saw it. Yeah, remember the submission sorority? Yeah. But
the Bang
look,
Bros?
you know...
Yeah, the Bang Bros.
There's only so many names, right? There's only so many names in the world.
Which really kills my NXT name of Ron Jeremy.
John Cena versus CM Punk has been made official for Night of Champions, where CM Punk will, I've got written down here, go suck a blood money...
Don't.
Yeah. Eat a lot of crow is a good way to put it, Jamie. What do we think of Cena versus Punk happening, but not at Money in the Bank and happening at Saudi Arabia?
Ooh, you missed it.
Like, honestly, like when Sammy started working those shows, I'm not going to get that angry about it anymore.
I just
I
hate
know
that
people are going out of their way to get angry about it, but if Sammy's cool with it, I don't think most of us can fucking put up an argument. Like Sammy has lived experience about what the problem he has with those people. And if he's willing to go over and work it, then why should anyone else have a problem with it?
Ask the family of Emil Khashoggi.
Yeah, like I understand that. I do understand that.
That's
but
why
there's also
I also hate they missed the opportunity for the callbacks to Punk, Cena, Money in the Bank.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was it was a layup of a storyline of we're going to run that back, and they didn't. Like, okay.
It didn't even.
And then you could have had.
But I like the fact that Cena was like, okay, I'll give you a title match, but I'll give it to you there. If you want to come and try and take
Trent
the title,
O'Day,
you have to come and.
Trent O'Day with the Krusty the Clown quote. They drove a big dump truck full of money to my house. I'm not made of stone. I think, honestly, I think that WWE is going to do what they do. They've got business deals with Saudi Arabia. We are entitled not to watch it as viewers. That's how I'm going to be responding to it. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, I think Money in the Bank was a layup.
Yeah, you're not going to respond to it by not watching it, but guess what? You're still paying for Netflix. So that doesn't really matter to them.
Yeah, but if all you watch on Netflix is WWE, you're missing a lot of really good TV.
That's very true, but they still get their money.
Oh yeah, they've got their money off Netflix anyway.
But I like the fact that like Cena's almost said, if you want a title shot from me, you've got to come and take it off me there. And I know I know what that means to you. Well, we don't know, do we? I don't think he gets an extra cent for going over there because it's just part of their contracts. They have X amount of dates to fill. It's not like, oh, you're working WrestleMania, you're getting an extra blah blah money. That doesn't happen anymore.
But I do think that if you're signing a contract, part of it is, hey, the reason you're getting such a high pay on this contract is we're expecting you to work Saudi shows. Yeah. If we don't have people working Saudi shows, we don't get paid enough to pay you the amount we're paying you. Is what WWE is saying.
But then Sammy missed how many before eventually doing them? One of them when he was very heavily involved in a storyline and still didn't do that show. Like that's my only thing. Like if Sammy's cool with it, then like I don't care.
That's
anymore.
fine. That's fine. I'll say it again. Ask the family of Emil Khashoggi.
And Alex Fireheart says, feels like it'd make more sense to do it on a non-Saudi show for the draw it could have been for a PLE. And Roddy Online says, if they have a great match, do you think anyone will be upset that it's not at Money in the Bank?
Nope.
Not long term.
I don't think WWE are going to even reference that part of it anyway.
No.
It's a missed opportunity. That's all it is. What Jamie and Lachlan and I agree with you guys. It's that missed opportunity to have the whole match be a callback without being a Money in the Bank match, because Cena can do the whole, you've already beat me there. You've beat me in that match. I'm refusing to see you in that match again. And I agree with Nick Galea. The Saudi shows don't have great atmosphere. As fans, they're more interested in being seen on camera and waving and stuff like that than they are actually enjoying a wrestling show.
The one thing is, though, those two have amazing
crowd atmosphere.
The one thing, those two have amazing chemistry in the ring.
Yeah, and they are both guys that know how to get a crowd on side, right? Like, there is going to be noise for that match, and it's going to be a belter of a match. Nick Galea also said that he still won't rule out Punk being taken out of the match by Rollins' crew beforehand to get more heat on them. Possible, right? Let's look at what's been happening this past weekend in WWE with one of the big shows of the year, Money in the Bank, going down. It had Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso defeating John Cena and Logan Paul with a little help from Mr. Killings. It had a men's Money in the Bank ladder match in which Penta, El Grande Americano, Solo Sikoa, Andrade, and LA Knight were defeated by the new Mr. Money in the Bank, Seth Rollins. It had the Women's Intercontinental Championship change hands with Becky Lynch defeating Lyra Valkyria. The WWE Intercontinental title stayed with Dominic Mysterio, as we referenced earlier, with Octagon Jr. becoming the man to fall at the hands of the IC champ. And in the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, Rhea Ripley, Stephanie Vico, Roxanne Perez, Julia, and Alexa Bliss couldn't get it done, but Naomi was able to grab the briefcase and become Miss Money in the Bank. Let's talk about the new briefcase holders first. Rollins for the men, Naomi for the women. What do we think of these choices, Jamie?
I don't like Seth having it. That seems like a waste. It's like Seth.
I think it's kind of integral to their storyline, though.
Well, I don't know the storyline, so I just looked at him and was like, does Seth need the belt? Like,
someone's got to beat Goldberg.
You're really hanging on to that, aren't you? It's really.
Who said it first?
Wait for my chicken shit.
Don't be mad that I'm right. I'm fucking like, if you're mad that I'm right, you'll be eternally mad.
I'm not.
All right, what do you think about Naomi, Jeff?
I think Naomi's a great idea.
I think Naomi's a fantastic idea. She's doing the character work of her career. I think you had Stephanie, Roxanne, Julia won it. Had one of those three won it, it would have been there. Oh, it's a bit soon. And I think everyone would have felt it's just a little bit too soon. Rhea doesn't need it. And Alexa, they're sort of in limbo with what the hell they're doing with Alexa. So really the only person who could have won it was Naomi, but she's the most interesting character. Purely as a character, she's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I think today was great too, with the stuff she has in the briefcase. Awesome.
I think what happens is Jade wins Queen of the Ring, has a title match, wins the title, and Naomi cashes in straight away and beats her.
Yep.
It's good.
Yep. I like that.
It's good. Yeah.
That I agree with you. See? I can agree with you, Dad.
Look, there is a lot to...
Can you guys tell me, though, what did you think of I Hate You Solo?
I loved it. It was
but
exactly what I wanted it to be.
But which way does the turn go? Is Solo the babyface or is Jacob? Because you look at it, that's a purely heel thing he did.
You did it. He did it to a heel. It doesn't matter. As long as the face's anger is directed at a heel, it's justified.
There is one thing within that match, and it is related to what you were saying that could run them into trouble, and that is, I was away, as some of you know, I was at a games convention for the weekend just gone, and yeah, I'm a geek, whatever, and all anyone was talking about on social, there were two things. One is R-Truth, Ron Killing's coming back, and secondly, how funny is Solo Sikoa? How funny is Solo Sikoa? They are going to have a really tough time keeping him a heel because he's hilarious. He was so funny in that match. I actually think he would have been a better winner than Seth. I really do. The only people I didn't want to win it was Seth, Andrade, and LA Knight. Any of the other three, I'd have been perfectly happy. Imagine El Grande Americano winning that. That would have been so good. But I get that it's for the storyline, but Solo, yeah, that's great. However, aside from that, I really like the options with Jacob as a babyface, and obviously he's going to have a match against JC Mateo pretty soon, so that'll be good.
I'm going to eat that up with a spoon. Just quickly, do we have any thoughts before we move on about Becky Lynch becoming the new IC champ, or is that just what's going to happen so that Lyra can work her way back up the card and Becky can have some pretty good matches to establish that women's IC belt?
We did that last week, didn't we?
I have a slight concern that they're going to just pivot to Bayley and Lyra's going to sort of fade into the background with this. I hope they keep Lyra front and center because the whole idea is to actually get her over. And she's starting to. It's starting to work. So, yeah, I just hope that they keep her front and center.
Yes, but that wasn't the only WWE show over this weekend. That's right. WWE PWL Worlds Collide had a ton of matches on it. The AAA Mega Championship, El Hijo del Vikingo defeated Chad Gable to retain. And the NXT North American Championship had Ethan Page defeating Javon Evans, Ray Phoenix, and Laredo Kid in a four-way match. As well as that, Stephanie Vaquer and Lola Vice defeated Chick Tormenta and Dalis. Santos Escobar, Angel, and Berto defeated Psycho Clown, El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., and Pagano, and the team of Dragon Lee, Cruz del Toro, and Lince Dorado was defeated by Aerostar, Octagon Jr., and the biggest star coming out of the weekend, bar none, Mr. Iguana. Yep.
I'm not worthy to breathe the same air as Mr. Iguana. Mr. Iguana is just... There's no way this was never going to happen either. It was always happening. It's great.
And the other thing worth noting in terms of Mr. Iguana is he has now gone up apparently on the WWE roster page. There has been a lot of hype around Mr. Iguana following the weekend, and it seems like he may be NXT bound, perhaps. We will see. We're having a couple of different responses in the chat. Nick Galea's response was, Iguana! Meanwhile, Wild Angel is asking, who's Mr. Iguana? And that's basically been the internet this weekend.
Not a lot of
there's
people.
There's been two clips from this show that I've seen just over and over again. It's the Iguana getting attacked, and then Stephanie and Lola celebrating with a dance after their match. Those are the only two clips that I've seen come out of this show.
I've actually, I'm going to answer Wild Angel. Iguana is Todd. That's why I keep shaking his head. He's trying to play it down. He's trying to keep it quiet. But we know.
Everyone asks, who is Mr. Iguana? They never ask, how is Mr. Iguana?
How is Mr. Iguana, yeah. It's true. Andy at Bob Backlund Fridges says, I knew Mr. Iguana would get over, and I loved that they did the Layesca Spanish fly spot in the very first match. They leaned into the silliness of Triple R in the first damn match. It was perfect. And Nick Leah says, Lindsay beating Layesca made my day as a wrestling fan. And they needed to put that emphasis on Layesca being something that matters. Otherwise, why is Mr. Iguana there at all? Right?
Yeah.
So they made it work. Is there anything on this show that was super interesting other than being a good match? Because I don't think so.
Oh, the main event was amazing.
The main event's phenomenal.
Oh, it was incredible.
The event was phenomenal.
But I mean, go figure. You've got literally two of the best workers in the world. It's not going to be bad. So, really happy that the most recent former champion is probably never going to appear on my television screen.
Hey, rematch Triple Mania coming up.
Yeah, but we won't see him in
Yeah, there is no legal way outside of Mexico to watch that show at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also really I like. There's that old expression we've heard of: everyone had their working boots on, and holy hell for this show, did they what? Stephanie Verker was in 3 or 4 matches over the weekend, including a ladder match. Phenomenal.
I do like that they kept most of the presentation very Mexican. Like a lot of the backstage interviews was just all in Spanish. It was all very. It was like they took what was good about AAA and sort of like trimmed the not so the less than good stuff that happens on some of those shows. So it was good to see the WWE production behind a AAA event, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was also good to hear Corey Graves just basically cut loose and be a very good commentator. Can't say the same for Conan. Conan sounded a little bit tired, sounded a little bit older than we're used to, but Corey Graves did a phenomenal job.
Who are you going to put on there, Jeff? Vampiro?
No.
Yeah.
No, not Vampiro.
It just proves that Corey Graves should be back on commentary on Raw.
Maybe Ray, to be honest.
Well,
maybe Ray
Corey's also got a connection with AAA as well, with his brother being on.
Yeah.
I think Conan was just on a bit of Jeff juice. So.
Hey,
1 or 2 puffs of the Jeff. Yeah. Nick Talia in the chat saying the whole show was very good. I think there's going to be a few signings. Elio del Dr. Wagner Jr. and his brother Galeno del Mal assured fire WWE targets.
I think Graves and Rey Mysterio would have been really good. Really good in that role. But that's just me. Nick's saying Graves is so good, it shows how awful McAfee is by comparison. McAfee has got really bad of late.
Yeah, and look, it's crazy that, we still need to talk about a whole other wrestling company now. So let's move over and talk about what's going on in AEW. The biggest news being Okada Omega will be competing for the new Unified Championship. Whoa! So All In, AEW All In Texas, Saturday, July 12th, has 3 matches confirmed so far. The AEW World Champion Jon Moxley defending against Hangman Adam Page, the AEW Women's World Champion Toni Storm defending against Mercedes Moné, and a winner-takes-all match with AEW Continental Champion Kazuchika Okada against AEW International Champion Kenny Omega for the new Unified Championship. Major thoughts so far? Do we want to talk about the belt?
I like the belt. I think it's a very nice design.
Yeah, I like the sketch they put up of the belt. The belt in real life looks very much like the original women's title. I think we already talked about that off the air. But it just, I need to see it on somebody to be able to know for sure what I think of it.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm interested to see where they position this now, though. Like, is this basically going to be?
Well, from what I heard,
second version of like a world title.
Yeah, I heard on Fightful is that they didn't want it to be like the biggest reason they didn't just call it the Intercontinental title is because they didn't want people to think of it as a mid-card title. They wanted to think of it as a 1A title.
Yep.
But then I was thinking about today, like, who is the TNT champion? I can't remember.
Adam Cole. Baby.
Oh, he is too. Thank you. Yeah. I could not for the life of me remember who was the champion.
Yeah, I had to go through some names there.
Yeah,
I'm glad you knew because for a second there I thought it was still on Miro.
Yeah, no, it's been a bit wild.
Hopefully going to be Kyle Fletcher very soon. Seems to be the direction.
Hopefully.
Because
God,
they are building that guy, and he deserves to be built like that. So let's see.
But there is no way. There is no way this All In is going to be bad. Look at those matches that are already announced. Like, for everything you say about Mercedes Moné, right now she's having very good matches against people. I just hope Tony doesn't lose to her, but she probably will.
Yeah,
I'm hoping like they're doing a lot of women's tag stuff. I'm hoping the other women's match we get on here is going to be for women's tag titles. It seems to be where they're moving the women's division to establish that. Hopefully that's one of the other matches they announce. And there's the other tag match that was very heavily teased at today.
Implied, yeah. Moving over to TNA now. Cassie Lee and Jess McKay, the Inspiration, are back in TNA. Fightful Select reported that they're signed to the company on deals that are less than a year, but that's also interesting, noting the working relationship with TNA and NXT now, so potentially Inspiration back on WWE TV. I don't think we have to send it around. We're all just happy to see the Inspiration, formerly known as the Iconics, back together in a major wrestling company, right? Just that's good. Yeah. Yep. Awesome. Well, we have been going for almost 2 hours because that's what happens when you put the four of us together in one chat, which means that we are going to be serving up a veritable buffet of chicken salad and chicken shit, because that's what we do here every week on a Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/WrestleRadio Australia. Jamie, you are the freshest face, so why don't we get your shit out of the way? Chicken shit over the past week. What have you got?
So it's a bit late, but it came to a head over the weekend with the Twitter account that was, "Is Roxanne Perez dead?" The fact that that even existed is really, really messed up. And then they had to they've been giving her extra security for all of her meet and greets and stuff. So over the weekend at the Money in the Bank meet and greets, she had extra security there. Just no one was allowed to like touch her or anything. It was just like, get in, get your photo, get out, which for them to have to do that really sucks.
Yeah, yeah.
She's also a 23-year-old child. Like, remember this. Fucking hell, that's made me angry.
Todd, chicken shit?
Have Jeff go next, mate.
He's got a big one. You want to let him fire it off?
Don't talk to him about him like that. Yeah,
Jeff,
have him go, mate.
Jeff, tell us about Goldberg, mate.
Unfurl your big one.
It's not just Goldberg. It's also Nikki Bella. It's also like WWE have got to stop relying on the past. They've got the most incredible women's division in the world right now, and someone is going to be bumped from Evolution 2 so Nikki Bella can get her fucking shit in. She's not a good wrestler anyway. And then we have Goldberg, the rumors of Goldberg fucking coming back and facing Gunther. Now, we already know, Jamie, you're making me smile because you're grinning away there, mate. Now, we already know Goldberg shit right now. Goldberg almost killed The Undertaker. Like, it wasn't pretty. They almost killed each other, actually. Goldberg should not be wrestling. If he wants to come out and do some fucking shit on the mic, I don't care. But the truth is, he's coming back one more time, maybe to take the title, maybe not, and wrestle Gunther and take a spot from someone else, and Nikki Bella take a spot from someone else. I don't want to see it anymore. I don't want to see people who were 20 years ago and 10 years ago coming back and taking spots off people that are hungry and good.
Nikki's got alimony to pay, bro. Fuck.
So let him be a backstage interviewer.
I got two. One is like, Kenny Omega is one of the best workers in the world. I don't think that is of any dispute. But his selling at times is just abominable. That selling today, I mean, give me a motherfucking break. Like, the first thing that came into my mind as soon as I saw that was, it's a very old Saturday Night Live sketch, but it was like John Lovers' character acting.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like every time I see him try and do that. I'm like, you're such a good wrestler. Why? I can't take you seriously when you sell like that. I just can't. It's Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Kenny's
and-
segments like that have always been very cartoonish.
Yeah, it's like, dude. And my second chicken shit is, I think that we can all say that we think gatekeeping in wrestling is shit. Can we all be in agreement to this?
Yep.
So I just want, like, Lucky, can you just read this out for me, mate?
Here we go. So this is a post by a fellow named Lachlan Albert, who posted, high-key frustrated at people, quote, discovering Mr. Iguana now that he's been on WWE TV. Now, the reason that... Okay, let's make this my chicken shit as well, because this was a targeted post at one of my friends who was excited about Mr. Iguana after I had recommended some AAA to him several times, and he said, nah. And that was a very narrow-casted post, which I didn't realize was cross-posted to Threads, and went white hot.
I got it sent to me by somebody else.
Oh, is that right?
Said, don't you hate gatekeeping? Oh, I hate it so much. In fact, this is what's going to be my chicken shit this week.
Would that person happen to be Trent O'Day, who also messaged me about that post?
No, it wasn't.
There you go. No, I got a lot of, hey, hang on for a second. I got a lot of replies about how I'm a gatekeeping piece of shit. Whereas that post was not at all about gatekeeping. It was the frustration of trying to spread the love of wrestling to lots of people who ignore everything that's not in WWE, and then when it appears in WWE, it's finally good. Right?
Keep digging up, son.
Looks kind of like gatekeeping. I'm just saying.
It is gatekeeping.
Does that not look like gatekeeping to you, Jamie?
A little bit, yeah. Also, to be fair to your friend, when you recommend AAA and they say nah, yeah, I would have said the same thing.
All right, well, then they don't get to post about how good Mr. Iguana is. That's fine. Pick one. Pick a lane.
Of course they can.
I think it would be the same if, like, Orange Cassidy went to NXT. He would go from the worst wrestler of all time to the greatest wrestler of all time. So I can see where you're coming from.
Refusing to watch Orange Cassidy because he's not in WWE, and then when he goes to WWE, being the greatest comedy wrestler of all time.
Yeah, but yeah, I can see where you're coming from. But yeah.
And Nick Galea says, hard to fit context into a Twitter post, though. Yep, you're exactly right.
It was a Facebook post, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, it was.
It was a Facebook post that I wasn't aware of, yeah.
I was actually, I don't know if I did, but I might have had some Conan medicine, but I was going to write classic Lachlan underneath. And I think I missed my opportunity.
Yeah, no. So to defend myself, yes, it looks like a gatekeepy post. It was specifically to put shit on someone.
And
it
so
was gatekeepy.
it got turned around on me big time.
Next time, just tag the guy in it.
Yeah, probably.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I posted it and then I sent him a screenshot, which I was like, that should be clear enough. But like, no, that's fine. That's fine. All right. Now, we had some chicken shits in the chat, but they are gone because everyone's putting shit on me about So,
did you have chicken shit?
well, normally I read out the ones from the chat and then I do mine, because mine was going to be, you know, the really horrible stuff that's happening. But I'll pick, you know, something a little more straightforward, and that's fuck El Patron. I don't think he needs a rematch. I think he can fuck right off, just personally. I am glad that Regia is not going to be broadcast by the looks of things, because I don't need to see El Patron anymore. Bye.
Yeah, it's not just you. It's not just you.
Yeah. Roddy Online has said you're not allowed to buy Oz wrestling cards if you can't name 3 of their songs. It's a whole gatekeeping group that we got going on now. All right, let's be more positive. You know what? Can I start? Can I please start with the positivity?
Go for it, mate.
How fucking good's Mr. Iguana? Like, that guy, is so funny. He gets the character across so quickly that, yep, thank you very much. He's got all of the charisma, and seeing the amount of people finally get to enjoy him the way that I've been trying to get people to enjoy him for years is really wonderful. It's a little frustrating, but it's pretty wonderful. So I'm excited for, hopefully, more people will be willing to look at more non-WWE people now that they've seen that there is good stuff coming in internationally. Maybe that will be good for Australian wrestling, going, oh, well, it turns out these AAA wrestlers are very good. Maybe these Australian wrestlers are worth checking out too. We can cross every finger we've got, because like a guy like Mr. Iguana getting that really show-stealing moment is really exciting to see. I'm really thrilled about it. Jamie, have you got a chicken salad to share with us?
For me, chicken salad this week is Matt Hader's Cringe Chronicles on social media, which is mysterious roommate in Florida, have been absolutely hilarious. I'm particularly excited for his Buc-ee's review because I love that place.
That's exciting.
So funny.
And that strangely voiced roommate is definitely an interesting character. Jeff, do you have some chicken salad for us?
Yeah, I really liked the main event of Raw this week. The great thing was Jay didn't come out with jobber face. He came out looking happy and fine. And oftentimes with your first title particularly, you can have jobber or loser face. But no, he looked perfectly happy and didn't sell it, and that's really nice. Gunther's social work was also really good, and by that I mean his social media post, not his work with children on drugs. He put
Gunther's social work.
He put up something like, "No one was backstage to celebrate with me. That's how I like it. This is my belt." Like something really short and simple, but some good work. I thought that was nice, and I also really liked Okada looking motivated again. Clearly, he wants to go to this match with Kenny, for the first time, really since he faced ZSJ last year, he looked a bit happy, and that was pretty good to see.
Absolutely. Andy Bob Backlund Fridges in the chat with his chicken salad of the week. I don't know why I had such low expectations for Worlds Collide. I don't think I've enjoyed a WWE show that much since NXT was hot 10 years ago. Awesome to hear. Todd, do you have a chicken salad for the past week?
Well, one's got to be the weekend, or at least the Sunday or Saturday night that Chad Gable had, allegedly.
Yeah.
Like, for him to allegedly have a main event with El Hijo del Vikingo that blew the doors off that show.
Do you want to say that name again? Do you want to say that name again? No, I didn't think
the guy that faced Mitch Ryder at Renegades Wrestling.
Yeah, sure.
That's the one. And then to back it up by going into a Money in the Bank ladder match later on in that night, allegedly, is just yeah, and that's a guy. As much shit as we want to hear everyone give the developmental arm of WWE, he's a guy that is pure developmental. Like, sure, he had the like amateur wrestling background, but he spent no time on the indies. He is purely trained by WWE in professional wrestling. And to go out and have that match, well, the two matches, allegedly, just like amazing work. And my other one is, I don't know if you saw it, but did you see that it was like the reel or the promo of the New Day laughing about Jay losing the title backstage?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just such great shit heel work. Which will probably end up being like, we'll end up seeing like Usos against New Day again, which is never a bad match.
No.
Well, because the Usos have been saying that there's no one around to challenge them, so.
And you know what Chad Gable would say to you for everything you just said there? Thank you.
I'll just quickly touch on something Jeff picked up there, which is the pronunciation of Elihu de Vikingo's name, which is one thing that I think WWE is going to help out with in terms of Triple R is making sure that everybody's name is a little bit easier to distinguish between. Because, like, if we're just talking about Vikingo at the moment, there is nobody named Vikingo, right? His father was King Vikingo. He is El Hijo del Vikingo, the son of Vikingo. His brother is Vikingo Jr. He has another brother who is Mini Vikingo, right? I understand that they are all, like... There's also daughter of Vikingo, his sister, right? They are all working wrestlers with very similar names. And I think WWE is going to maybe step in and try and keep some referencing the lineage in there, but also help differentiate who is who, which is a boon for not only some of the fans who have trouble keeping up, but also a boon for the wrestlers who will make it easier to search for them in Google. Like someone like Mini Vikingo, when you Google Mini Vikingo, Google AI thinks you're just talking about El Hijo de Vikingo and somebody is calling him Mini because he's little. That's where we're at with these guys. Roddy Online says, what if he changes his name to Daniel Vikingson? Vikingo.
I think we could also see the return of Big Daddy V.
Big Daddy V Kingo. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Wild Angels Chicken Salad is the absolute variety on all cards over the weekend. Strong style, lucha, technical, and comedy wrestling, all getting to shine on a show I didn't expect to be as good as it was. Alex Fireheart's Chicken Salad is that Emi Sakura set up a GoFundMe to help the DDT wrestler Masa Takahashi out, recovering from a spinal injury. And it's 75% towards its goal in, I think, under a week. Nice to see people support a wrestler who isn't the biggest name while he's in a bad spot. Hope Masa comes out the other end okay. And in reference to the names, Nicolia says that's lucha in general. The link to the name means a lot. Plus, you also have to factor in the differences between English and Spanish. And Alex Fireheart says, yeah, there's a reason Galeno del Mal is Galeno del Mal. Yeah, absolutely right. To not add into the Dr. Wagner Jr. lineage, because he is the son of Dr. Wagner Jr. No, he is the son of Dr. Wagner Jr., who is the son of Dr. Wagner, but he's not El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. Yeah, lovely stuff.
It literally sounds like you're trying to explain a Days of Our Lives angle.
And Nick Galea also has a chicken salad, 20th anniversary of Samoa Joe versus Necro Butcher, still one of the greatest matches of all time. If you like that style, definitely. That is a match that, like, is what it is for sure.
There is one more thing I need to mention, and that was Octagon versus Dominic Mysterio. Was just a lovely piece of work. Shows you again how far Dom has come, and how good he's working.
I just got a message from my partner, who is sitting next to me while I record, who asked why we haven't seen Vikingo Ito yet. So let's keep this running. But look, we could go on about this all night. And looking at the time we have on
Americango.
Ding, ding, ding. I'm calling time on it because we've been recording for over 2 hours. We've been live on a Thursday night here at twitch.tv/WrestleRadio Australia. And if you haven't already, you can subscribe so that you get notified when we go live. It's free. You can do it on twitch.tv/WrestleRadio Australia. You can follow. You can subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podcast Addict, wherever you get your podcasts. It's free. Hit subscribe. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, if you can give us a rating and a review, a 5-star review if possible, really helps us get into more ears. You can follow us on social media at WrestleRadio AU on Twitter and Instagram, WrestleRadio Australia on Facebook. We've all got our own social media handles on the screen if you're watching the video version. I am at Lachlan Albert, Todd is at Beast Eastman, Jamie is at Jamie Apps Media. Jeff doesn't do the Twitter thing, but he does have at Wrestle_Brainia to talk about WrestleBrainia. Jeff, tell us about Brainia.
Brainia is coming back soon. We are so excited to be returning to the Bergie Band Room, making you laugh more, talking about wrestling more, bringing out some wrestlers and comedians and having a lot of fun. I'll tell you more really soon.
Jamie, tell us about Pario Magazine and Australian Wrestling Cards.
Pario, a couple of exciting interviews coming up. Scott Green will be joining us for the week of the Rumble. So there'll be some cool chats with Scott.
Who's Scott Green?
You fool. And then, yeah, wrestling cards. June packed out now, and I'm beginning the process of putting together a list for 2026. So if you have recommendations, there's posts on Twitter and Instagram. go over and recommend some people to me.
Fantastic stuff. And you can also go and pick up those Australian wrestling cards for June. And while you're picking stuff up, head on over to Redbubble, search for Wrestle Radio Australia. You'll find our merch there, including lovely shirts like the one I'm wearing right now, but the proceeds don't go into our pocket. They go to Gotcha for Life and Beyond Blue, two awesome charities that support mental health here in Australia. And if you're looking for merch, another great place to get it is Kickout merch, kickout.com.au. Merch your favorite Queensland wrestlers. Merch. Nicolia says, damn it, Lachlan, now I have June rats in my head. Yeah, gotcha. Nick. Ha ha. Head on over to kickoutmerch.com or kickout.com.au. Get merch of your favorite Queensland wrestlers and wrestlers from around the country. If you are a wrestler and you want your merch on Kickout, message them on Instagram. They're a great team for getting merch into people's hands. It has been a monster show. I got to check. Does anyone have anything we've still got to add?
No, just that the interview I did with Andrew Hastings will be up on Monday night. Really fun chat talking about his show backstage segment, which is coming up. It really looks like an interesting... If I lived in Sydney, I would probably definitely be going to check that show out.
Yeah, absolutely worth the time. And if that's everything, then I get to say a huge thank you to everyone who has joined us in the chat here at twitch.tv/Wrestle Radio Australia, because it really does make the show. Everyone who listens, we really appreciate you coming along. So, on behalf of Todd Eastman and Jeff Setti and Jamie Apps, I've been Lachlan Albert. Till next time, have a good one.
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad out of chicken shit.